From Wakefield, it's the Ice-T Meme Show starring NoLdAwG, inviting you to join NoLdAwG and his guest for this week's episode, Ryan Sweet. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's NoLdAwG.
And welcome back to the show. This is my little monologue type thing, my little bit called What Happened Last Week with NoLdAwG. Sports News has made official that the Tokyo Olympics chief has resigned after previous sexist remarks were made public. In the U.S., we just let our leaders, get away with it. Another dark and sad day. Former President Donald J. Trump was acquitted for the second time in his most recent impeachment trial in regards to the January 6th riots. And seeing this many deny something obvious since the jurors thought RJ was not guilty. What was a spineless move? Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, fresh off voting Trump not guilty during the impeachment trial, made a moving speech on why Trump needed to be tried in a criminal court. This is more ridiculous than middle schoolers still believing Santa Claus, or even when a movie is rated R and you're 17, but still need a parent to be with you watching the movie. The public was made aware as Senator Graham, Cruz, and Lee all met with Trump's legal team during the Senate trial. That stunt they pulled is more illegal than McDonald's getting rid of their orange high-C drink. A video was released earlier last week of the Capitol building police officer Goodman directing Senator Mitt Romney to safety as the rioters entered the Capitol on the first floor. If that was in Utah, Mitt Romney would give off his daughter, so they could keep producing children. Because that's what they do in Utah. One of the stars of Disney's hit show The Mandalorian, Gina Carano, has been dropped from the show, as well as any future projects involving Disney after the final straw was drawn in regards to anti-Semitic comments and posts were made on their social media accounts. Carano stating that COVID-19 health precautions and measures being like a concentration camp is like the QOP saying that Trump belongs to Mount Rushmore, both more outrageous than paying $10,000 for a Rolling Stones ticket. The Kardashians are coming under fire again, and not about Kanye sleeping with another YouTube star who plays in his mother's closet before Kim Kardashian's daughter's painting. Kardashian adamantly states that her daughter did it all on her own. It's funny hearing that coming from a girl who's made of more plastic than the Pacific Ocean. Instagram has officially banned RFK Jr. from their platform after false claims in regards to the COVID vaccine. RFK is becoming more of an embarrassment than Fuller House. It was reported in the economic world that Disney took in nearly $5 billion less in revenue over the pandemic holidays. Meanwhile, thousands of middle-aged people are sweating their ass off, taking pictures with kids in diapers as Mickey and Minnie Mouse 100 hours a week for $15 an hour. There's recently reported that a nun who recently beat COVID-19 turned 117 last week. Asked by a reporter what she was looking forward to in this new year, she said, "Ah!" The reporter later found out that Sister Andre was asking for a glass of water. The New York Post came out with an article of President Joe Biden playing Mario Kart with his granddaughter over the weekend. Joe Biden seems like the type of person who chooses Moo Moo Meadows as his course to race, singing as he talks with his mouth like cows chewing grass. Global CEO Whitney Wolfe Herd became the first self-made woman billionaire this past weekend, giving hope to all young girls that they too can be billions one day if they sell enough lemonade and chips and cookies at the end of the street. It was an eventful one for Taylor Swift as she spent time in the studio recording her hit song from 2008, Love Song. Ryan thought Taylor Swift adapted from catering to musical girls to a wider range. She goes back to basics and writes to girls who feel the need to be empowered by posting what they're listening to on their Instagram stories. And finally, in some sad journalism news, Hustler founder and staunch First Amendment supporter Larry Flynt died over the weekend at the age of 78 years old. Just like the thousands of Paris Hiltons can talk about what hell they were put through and not mention all the money they made. That's what happened this past week with NoLdAwG. Stay with us as we'll be right back with the rest of the show and our guest for this week, Ryan Sweet. 2, 1, and welcome back for another edition of the show. With every new show, we have a new guest to go along with it. Just like the prior episodes, this guest is both equally special and unique, if not even more. Please welcome my dear friend, co-worker, and former teammate, the one and only Ryan Sweet. Ryan, thank you for coming on the show this week. I greatly appreciate it. I can't express that enough. I know you're a busy man with all sorts of stuff, so thank you for taking the time.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Is there, before we begin, is there anything you'd like to plug, whether it be handles or anything you got fun coming up, or is there nothing of that sort?
I don't think there's anything of the sort right now, at least.
Okay. But so before we officially begin this episode, I want to address that this episode is a rarity, a new a record of sort, I guess. This is number 11, lucky number 11. It is also recorded earlier than usual. Usually I do on Wednesdays, but myself and Ryan, the guest, work together at a local camp, and there's a camp this weekend. Between him working every day and myself working on the Wednesday, usually record. This day is a different day, Monday, but it'll still be up Thursday, hopefully in the early morning, if not late in the day. But reviewing this on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe button, post notifications, turn that on, and share it, because who wouldn't want to be involved with something great as this legendary. But if you're listening to this as well on streaming services as well, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, so on and so forth, and all that bullshit, do the same thing. Leave a like, follow, share, all that good jazz, because it helps me out. And yeah. Anyways, though, well, without further ado, let's finally begin with all that other petty bullshit aside. What's been going on in your life? I know that we talk often, but COVID's going on. So what's been going on in Ryan Sweet's life during this pandemic?
So recently I just moved to my mom's house for 10 days because she's in Arizona and her boyfriend has just gone to visit her for the 10 days. So I am here to watch the cats.
Big stuff. You get you get the important jobs, I guess. Watching the cats.
Yes, someone's got to watch the cats.
Someone's got to.
I mean, it's great because I'm at the house by myself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I have a feeling that you were her first option, not your brother.
Yeah, no, I don't think he would have taken that responsibility to watch our cats.
She probably would, if he had that responsibility, he probably would have been passed out on the couch sleeping, and with the cats eating at each other when she returned.
Yeah.
But no, he's a wonderful person in his own life. But what I wanted to ask, as I just mentioned, you were a very busy man. So what's it been like working during this pandemic at each or for each job that you do have, whether it be gas station or the other ones?
So I guess I'll start with the gas station. The gas station can be pretty frustrating at times. So like I pump gas for people. They come up and it's 10 cents extra per gallon for me to pump your gas. Probably about 90% of the people refuse to wear a mask while I'm pumping their gas. And I can't turn them away, so I still have to pump their gas no matter what. And so I'll work inside the store, like inside the convenience store. I'll work outside. I'm getting trained on the car wash. Hopefully, I'll be able to be by myself on the car wash soon. But like when I'm doing gas, people are probably way more rude on gas than they are in the store. Because if you're in the store, you're with somebody else and there's other people around.
Yeah.
But if you're pumping the gas, it's only you and them. So they'll yell at you. They'll say mean things. It's great.
Well, it's almost like, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's almost like you're offending them for asking them to stay healthy and so forth. But no, continue.
Another thing that happens is that they don't know that it's a full service pump. And so I'll walk up to their car and they'll be like, what the hell is this dude doing standing at my car? And I'm like, it's a full service pump, dude. Like, I'm supposed to pump your gas. And he's like, well, why can't I pump my gas? I'm like, well, you can. You just have to go to a self-serve pump. And they get wicked mad when I tell them that.
And then you also work at, in the town similar to myself, and which we'll get to later, but you also work at the Boy Scout shop. At least, you do. I don't know if, it changed, but
yes.
What's it been like? No, go ahead.
While I am technically employed there, they haven't been able to afford to bring us back. And it's a complicated situation. So I work at the West Bay Scout Shop. And our sister store is the East Bay Scout Shop. And that's in Swansea. So recently, Narragansett Council closed our headquarters building. And they're moving all of our offices to the Swansea store. So the Swansea store is now closed, and the West Bay Scout Shop is now the only store for Narragansett Council. And because of this, people have been moved to West Bay. Now, because I've only been there for 2 years, it became more of like a seniority thing, or like an availability thing. And so because I go to school and I have other jobs, I just haven't been brought back yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully, once COVID ends, I'll be able to return. But I was only actually there at the Scout Shop at the very beginning of COVID.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like you were there during the entire thing. And then for, combined with the other ones, is the general gist, I guess, you haven't been there as well, but how do you think the gas station, the people who, run it, how do you think they've handled operations during, the pandemic, do you think, there could be any room for improvement, or do you think, they, try to do it the best that they can?
I think that like they're doing like the best that they can, like within reason.
Yeah,
Like we have like those plexiglass shields. Our store probably has some of the best like shields I've ever seen at any store.
really?
Like they're kind of fancy. Like they have like legs that go towards me and then they come up
Okay.
and then the plexiglass is angled backwards.
Oh, wow. There you go. Official.
Whereas like Cumberland Farms and so many other places just have like these like two like pieces of wood with like plexiglass
Yeah.
just put into the
And duct tape
and
that's
ours are like
falling
made
off.
out of metal and glass.
Oh, wow. Hey, I guess now
Yeah.
now in the chain of command for gas stations where yours lie. What I usually ask though of people coming on the show is how has this pandemic, because it's affected everyone, how has it affected you personally, and what has it taught you about life in general, or your life itself?
So probably the biggest thing that has changed about my life is school. Now I love school, but online school just isn't for me at all. Like I completely hate it. I've done so much worse ever since online school started, and it's probably like the most frustrating thing. So like, but the biggest thing I've done with that is to like take my time with it. So like I'm taking
Yeah.
less courses so that it's not as like a big of a caseload.
Oh, yeah.
I actually just dropped a course recently because I got really fed up with the professor. But
Oh.
and like I can't see my friends as often as I would like to.
Yeah.
I can like I work with some of my friends, but other than that, like I don't get to see them.
No, yeah, no. It's
Besides when we
definitely,
play like on Xbox.
yeah, no. It's definitely rough, and it's unfortunate because the people leading the country now, they're trying their best to change that so you can go back to normal life, but there's still people across the country, whether it be in our own state or the southern states, where it may be, that want nothing to do with this and still think it's fake and only care about themselves. So it's definitely something that is unfortunate that's
It's
happening.
really discouraging to see people that think that like this is that, like at this point in like the virus that it's still fake.
Yeah. Well, it's just that and the thing is, like I just mentioned, it doesn't, if it hasn't personally affected them, then it's not that big of a deal for them. If they haven't had anyone that's died or they've gone sick, then they aren't going to deal with it. Then of course, next thing they're all wearing masks and stuff when something really affects them. But it's unfortunate because at the camp we work at, and I mentioned this with Rob Cruz when he was on last week, it really affected that job last year because most of our stuff required close contact and all this stuff, and a lot of businesses that we're doing business with, going on field trips and stuff, it really stopped and really dulled it. But no one cares about that because it doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
Do you think moving forward, though, and I asked this as well the last few weeks, the health precautions put in place and measurements, do you think it will not? I mean, I don't want to say we'll have masks forever and shields forever, but do you think this certain not severity but more worriedness or precautions put into place will stay, so future things like this don't happen? Or do you think the same health measures as before would go back into place?
So I don't necessarily think that they're like the mask mandates are going to last too long. I think like the estimates were like in the fall we won't have to wear the masks anymore. But it's just more of like a social thing that we would have to do to prevent future viruses. And I watched quite a few videos on this earlier, and it's we interact too much with wildlife, and we do it way more than we should, and that's how viruses and pandemics are started.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get more strict with that, so that this doesn't have to become like a recurring thing.
Oh yeah. Well, I think people definitely will be more on edge going forwards. They're maybe paying more attention to their, I don't know, getting sick or whatever. I did read though the other earlier today, I think it was, or yesterday, that 3 cases were found in Uganda of the Ebola virus. So hopefully that doesn't end here on top of the other international cases, strains of the virus coming in.
Yeah.
But no, it's just it's unfortunate that this has had to happen because there's so many, things happening in the country that were affected by this, whether it be music stuff or social stuff. And it's sad that, people aren't caring because it's ridiculous. And I think that if situations were different, where if this happened on other people's watches, then it would have been dealt with differently. It's regardless. But anyways, that's enough COVID. I try my best to talk as much as I can about, since it's, the only thing really going on, but it's sort of the same thing mentioning. But what I want to do next is I want to play these videos I have of this stuff. So let us share the screen. Let's go to YouTube. So these videos that I play, they're all I've added new ones, but other ones I have kept throughout the majority of other episodes and get their reactions, because obviously everyone else is going to have a different reaction to them. So this first video, this guy's name is Joe, and I didn't find this myself, but I watched and listened to this podcast called Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and Christina Pazynski. They're a married comedian couple, and they like to play a lot of edgy blue type of stuff that might not be the best thing to say in public. And they found this guy, and his name is Joe, and he's a carpenter handyman type of situation. And he was working at this gym, and he saw this lady, very attractive, and paid so much attention to her that he found out who she was by her name on the sign-in sheet. And then afterwards, he found her and started talking to her afterwards, and I'll explain afterwards. But I'll play this video, and just when I'm playing it, just say if you can hear it or not.
Okay.
Good morning, Julia. It's me, Joe. Just wanted to say hi. Wish you a great day. Tell you that meeting you yesterday and getting a look at you was probably one of the greatest moments of my life. You were so beautiful. You don't know how beautiful you are to me. I mean, just, you're gorgeous. You're precious. And but it's been sitting in my mind when you said to me you want to go back with your ex-boyfriend. Please erase him from your memory. Don't ever go back in the past. I know, because I've been there. And I understand when, you're trying to find somebody and you go on dates and nothing compares to your ex. But there is that better person out there. And Julia, I promise you, it is me. I will love you like you've never been loved before. I will cherish you. I'll make you feel like a woman, a real woman. And believe me, after you experience me, you won't even know who your ex-boyfriend is. So, open up your heart to me in your arms. Let's go full throttle. I could see me falling in love with you. They just, I don't know, I just looked in your eyes and I just melt. Anyhow, I'm heading off to work. This is my cute little home. Everything you see behind me, I built everything. Every square inch, from crown molding to chair rail to floors to lighting to plumbing, doors, windows.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So this is the type of guy you're getting.
Wow,
I'm a very handy guy. And I'd love to build you whatever you want. You're a sweetheart. So I hope this video doesn't scare you, but that's how I feel. I just want you to know that. Okay? And I look forward going out to dinner with you. So let's make it happen. Mwah. Ciao, baby.
So this, like I said, his name is fuck, I forgot what his name was. Anyways, regardless, he sent this video to the girl Julia, and how that happened was after he went outside to talk with her and say, how attractive it was and how beautiful she was and how he wanted to go on a date with her. He's like, can I give you my number? She goes, no, I'll can I have your number? She goes, no, I'll take your number. So he takes her phone, puts it into the contact app, and after he enters it, he presses the little phone icon, so it calls him through her phone, and he ends it on his phone, so then he has it saved without having to have called her. And he sends this video to her through the text app. And and it was interesting seeing this, and to me personally, and I'll get your opinion after. I was interested. I thought it personally went smooth at first and was fine, and then it took a giant nosedive off the deep end. He's very interesting. What are your thoughts on this guy in this video?
I agree with what you said. He started off like pretty good, and then he just started going off, and like it got to the point where it was creepy.
Yeah. Yes. I was very, I was very impressed, similar to when our leader in town showed off his Marvel gear to some of the other staff members of ours over the summer. What I'm
Mhm.
impressed about, though, if you go back and look,
Everything, every square inch,
he's
from
got,
crown molding to
you see
chair
it,
rail
he's got two
to
fans in
floors
one
to
room.
lighting
He's got the one and then the two in
to
there.
plumbing, doors,
Mhm.
And
windows.
then you come over here and he's got
So
another one. So he's got three fans in about 100 foot radius on one floor. I mean, it's pretty impressive to be able to put all that work into the first floor. But on the cool guy
Mhm.
scale, 1 to 10, one being not cool at all, weird, and 10 being the coolest of guys ever, where do you rate him on the scale, Ryan?
Um, I mean, in reality, he's probably like a 4 or 5. Uh, like he's not like incredible. Like the stuff that he's done in his house is kind of impressive.
Yeah.
I don't really know why you'd need 2 fans in your kitchen, but
Yeah.
uh, but he's not like an ultimate like cringy or like creepy dude.
Yeah.
Like he obviously means well in the video.
Yeah.
He doesn't like mean to be creepy. It just kind
Yeah.
of came off like that.
Oh no, yeah, and he just doesn't. I mean, nobody thinks this is normal. What's funny though is though after he sent this to her, he sent another video to her later, saying
He's
basically,
Nintendo.
I now I haven't watched it fully. I've seen a little bit of it, and he basically he's driving his car, basically saying, "Hello there, my girlfriend, my beautiful darling," and stuff like that, and making it seem like they are dating. And I think eventually, because on the podcast, the two people who host it, they called the
Hmm.
lady he sends us to, and I'll have to watch that later for future episodes. But she basically shared the story, and he sent her that video, and I think she said she finally got rid of him and blocked him and got rid of him off everything and avoided him. This next video is another great one. I found this one on TikTok,
Hmm.
and I had originally shown it to my family, and
Hmm.
my father, your former coach, laughed, but it was kind of just like, and the other people in my house weren't a big fan of it and kind of were freaked out and started an argument. Here he is.
Hmm.
This guy's name is Steve. He's a truck driver in Ohio, and he's got a pretty big following. I'll tell you afterwards.
Time to wake up, my queen. Come on, my queen above 18. Open them beautiful eyes. There you go. You are so beautiful. I just love my queen above 18. Well, good morning. All right, my queen. I'll go down and put your breakfast on. I'll get you some nice hot cup of coffee. You go take your shower, and I'll meet you in the kitchen. I love you too, my queen above 18. I will see you in a little bit. Yes, you look beautiful. All right, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
That guy's name is Steve, and he a truck driver, and he became popular on TikTok. I think people it wasn't that he had a lot of followers. I think just people were like, what the hell is this guy doing? And they started just viewing stuff. And he also was on that podcast, and they were talking about him, and he has a following, and he specifies in his videos specifically, you have to be over 18 to view my stuff. And if you're not, I will find you might, he says, if you're not, you might get through a few times, but after I will find you and I will delete you off my page, which is funny because I didn't know a user can delete someone off of the app.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, neither did I. And this I love the POV shot of that. That was incredible. He's got merch. In order to get the merch that he created that says Kings and Queens above 18 on it, that has it's all black. There's white tank tops, black sweatshirt, pants, and there's a hat. And in order to get it, you have to email him. You got to email him your information, then send him money through Venmo and PayPal. It'll take about 2 weeks to 3 weeks to get to you. It costs about $40 in total with shipping handling. And and at first when he was doing the stuff videos on TikTok, he was just like, let me see them boobies hang. Let me see. I like them boobies. Let them hang through that tight shirt. And it was like, excuse me, but no, it was really. And the thing is, I just thought it was comical because this guy here's this guy in his 60s, the truck driver, thinking that that's normal and that's not weird or disgusting at all. And actually, I had a brief altercation with him on the app. someone had made a video or commented on a video saying, I feel uncomfy. And then he did one of those videos where you react to the comment and he goes, what does this mean? And I went down the comment section and I was like, uncomfy means when a guy in his 60s asks for girls or above age for creepy photos and videos of them at their parties. Because he'll ask in the video, oh, message me a video or Snapchat me a video of you at your event having fun. And he'll give shout outs for like $15, $5 to $15. And then he went off on me in a video about that. But what are your thoughts on Steve, the truck driver, in that video?
I think the video was incredibly creepy. It definitely does help that he says that his content is like specifically for people who are over 18.
Yes.
And that he'll delete people who aren't.
Yeah.
So I guess it's good in like that sense.
Yeah.
But it's like, even if you are 18, like if you just turned 18, that's still like really creepy.
Oh, yes,
and like
it is.
To like specifically ask people to like send you stuff, it's just,
well, the thing is,
it's just weird.
I think when he first started this, I'm getting the vibe from it, and they said that on the podcast that I watch. I feel as though he definitely, was caught off guard a bit, because he definitely, I'm sure, asked people, and they might not have been of the age. And then he was like, "Oh, I gotta switch this." And he's just. I was just gonna mention something about him. I forget what it was, but it's just. It's ridiculous to think that that's. And no, I remember what it was. He had twice. He had found someone. Supposedly, he met up with a fan, someone who watches his content or follows him, and he's recording a video with him and the person sitting there, and she looks like she's trapped, and she's like, help me. And he's like, you gotta go on her page, follow her, like her stuff, send her some love. And it was just like, what are you doing? And it's like it's like when you go to Walmart and you go to like the bathroom, where the bathroom area is, and you're sitting on the bench in the front, and she's just like, and he's very out there. On the cool guy scale, though, 1 to 10, 1 being not cool, 10 being the coolest of guys, where would you rate him, Mr. Ryan Sweet? This
guy's probably a 1.
that is a new record low for him. I forget. I think Rob had voted him maybe a little higher than that. I only vote. I would agree in the sense that how unbearable it was. But like the previous guy, I have to give them credit for having the balls to put that stuff out there and thinking that that's cool or acceptable, because I would never do that, and I know for a fact you definitely wouldn't do that. And
I mean, I don't even have any videos posted on TikTok. I haven't made a single one.
and the things I'm not severely connected to it. I at first, when I had put stuff out there, it was just weird stuff that I had thought of and just off the top of my head, and then obviously promoting this program. But now that the guy is the guy is weird. This next guy that you're watching here, his name was Haig, or I don't know if that's his actual name, but he's Australian. And he lives in Australia, obviously. And he posts a lot of stuff. He's got a YouTube channel, skits, cartoons, and he's also on TikTok. And he likes to do a lot of not improvising, but a lot of characters and a lot of dressing up and role playing and stuff like that. And his big stuff are stuff he creates himself. He makes hand puppets and stuff, and he also likes to do Wolverine. And here's his garage video of him doing Wolverine.
Okay, bud, where's the girl? Now we can do this the easy way or my way. Yeah, you want to start talking or should I start clawing? Because these bad boys will... No. But these bad boys love the taste of blood. Now, start talking, where's the mutant, or I will start clawing. And trust me, I will. Now, want to tell me, or will these tell me? Thank you. Good. There.
Oh, here it comes.
Really? 5 guys with guns. In a match for Wolverine with claws. Now, let's try this again, shall we? Where's the girl? Or the claws will make you tell. You don't believe me? Ha! Think I'm joking? Talk, or I'll make it talk. Over there. Good. Never mess with the Wolverine.
I like his Michael Strahan impression with the space between his teeth. It's really spot on. But no, like I said, his name is Hig. He does a lot of impressions, and he's on TikTok. He's taking a break right now for mental health reasons, which is legit and stuff, and taking a break. And fortunately, he doesn't do Wolverine anymore because he has found it cringy, as he says, and embarrassing. But no, I love that stuff. Coach Mr. Carr himself loves this guy. I watch him. I watch him all often as he was posting. But no, he's definitely a cool guy. On the cool guy scale, 1 to 10, Mr. Ryan Sweet, how would you rate him?
I'd probably give him like a 5.
5? What are your thoughts? I mean, why would you give him a 5 out of 10?
He's definitely got a lot of like passion for what he's doing.
Yeah,
He's good.
yeah.
He could probably use a little more acting classes.
Yes.
If I'm going to be frank.
Yes.
Because he just has like the same kind of tone of voice throughout the entire thing.
Yeah,
It's not very believable.
Yes. I personally think that his maybe videography work could use a little work, seeing as although using the rule of thirds is great for filming, but when you're basically off the screen entirely, dealing with 5 cops with guns, it doesn't really help when you're not showing. But I like how serious he gets in character extremely well, and he gets really passionate about it. But that's my friend Haig. I'm looking forward to whenever he posts next, which will be next month for content. But this next guy I found through someone on Twitch, and he was playing a video on in his Discord channel, and here he is. I think it was Big Rob. He does a lot of UFC and food reviews. When I was with Rob doing this last week, I said he reminds me of your brother because he's got the same hairstyle and beard. But without further ado, here's Big Rob.
What up, YouTube? It's Big Rob.
Oh, you might have to turn it up because he does talk really quiet and really low.
What up, YouTube? It's Big Rob. Bitches be stomping on mine now. I'm back here.
Did you hear that?
Bitches be stomping on mine now. I'm back here again. We're gonna do a drink review. I've had this drink before, but I figured I'd review it to let others know what I think about it. So, Mountain Dew USA. It's actually really good. It's 3 flavors collided together: Code Red, Ride Out, and Voltage.
Voltage.
So, let's pop this baby. Here we go. Like I said, I've tasted this before.
He's done it before, so how's it a review for the first time?
Tell you, what I like about it and stuff. So here we go. Pinky up.
Pinky up. He's glizzling that down. Watch his lips. Oh, that kiss of approval.
Fucking delicious.
It's fucking delicious.
Like I said, it's one of my faves. It's like, it's a fruity flavor. It's just fucking good. Fucking banging.
Fucking banging. Oh, he's going again.
Yeah.
Oh, the lips. Oh, God.
That's good. But yeah, I fucking love it. It's tasty.
So basically that's his stuff. He does other videos. He hasn't posted in a few years, but that's his stuff. What I love about it is how much he loves it, how much he emphasizes that although he's already had it before, for the fans, he's going to review it and tell you his thoughts on it to hopefully get you to buy it. And he's really, I really hope he becomes like a sponsor of Mountain Dew and gets some ads, because he really is all in for it and does his best to really say why this drink that looks like pure cough syrup and codeine is the best drink out there, because that was a hell of a lot of sugar, and he's drinking a lot of it at once. What are your thoughts on Big Rob?
I've actually never had. I've actually never had that flavor, so I don't know if it's good or not. So I'm just gonna take his word for it.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, like, it's not a bad idea to review Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
I personally wouldn't have done it. I don't know why he's in his basement. I feel like there's probably a better spot in his house that he could have done it in.
That unfinished basement look is really on point.
It looks a lot like my basement before we finished it, but he definitely could have talked a lot louder.
Oh yes, definitely. Yes, I hate having to make it known that people have to turn it up because he talks very low and monotone. But
his voice was very surprising. I didn't expect his voice to sound like that. I expected him to sound like a lot either like myself or my brother, since he does look like a lot like my brother, except my brother, his beard doesn't connect like his, and my brother's hair is a lot more curly. But other than that, it's like spot on.
On the cool guy scale, Mr. Ryan Sweet, how would you rate him? 1 being low, 10 being the coolest of guys?
This guy's definitely like a 5 or 6.
Really?
He seems pretty chill.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I gotta take a quick bathroom break, and I'll be right back in like 5 seconds for the next video.
Okay.
Ah, son of a bitch. And we're back. Okay, so this next video, this next one is something that, although I think you and Rob are not Big Rob here, but the other Big Rob share more in common with than I do with both of you. But it's a show that I think us three definitely enjoy. Obviously, though, you and Rob enjoy, I'm sure, way more than me. And without further ado, here is the video.
You've reached the national headquarters of the Catholic Church. No one is available to take your call. If you'd like to report sexual abuse...
Damn, there's got to be somebody we can call for an exorcism.
You is a bitch!
May white God bless you, Robert. I came as fast as I could.
So this is the plan, Uncle Ruckus.
Let's get this party started.
You got bad credit, Robert.
Removing an evil spirit from a was as hard as removing the stank from a hunk of shit. We must use these tools that the great God has given us to fight. A whip, a noose, a nightstick, a branding iron. These things strike fear into a heart. A job application. Avoid conversation with the will lie. The will make excuses. He will use words he don't really know. If he gets really desperate, he may start to rap or dance.
You all testicles and no shaft.
Oh yeah.
What happened to your shaft?
There is powerful at work here.
Who in the hell are you?
My name is Reverend Father Uncle Ruckus. No relation. In the name of white Jesus and all great white men who have come thereafter, I command our soul back to the depths of hell.
Is that all you got?
Oh no, that's just the tip of this iceberg. Read! Read! Now, Robert, now! Just hit him with anything. Come on, everybody join in. Use your powerful hands. Let's whoop this ass. Repeat after me the holy phrase. Get your black ass out of here.
Get your black ass out of here.
Yeah, take that, you black cricket.
Get your black ass out of here.
Get your black ass out of here.
Get your black ass.
Well, that's one Uncle Ruckus video, and we got one more, and then I'll get your reaction on him.
I have YouTube Red, so I don't get ads.
I wake up at 4:45 in the a.m. every morning. That's about 12 hours before most wake up. I am a very spiritual person. I start each day by thanking the white man for the sunrise, for the land I walk on, for the air I breathe. I also apologize for but Lord knows they ain't gonna apologize for themselves. I am not black, nor do I consider myself to be black. Many people mistake me for being because they don't know that I am currently living with the heartbreak of revitiligo. That's a skin condition that's the opposite of what Michael Jackson's got. Every morning I apply this topical ointment made of bleach and sulfur. I like to think it works. Luckily, I hadn't gotten much darker in the last few years. As you can see here, I enjoy building small shrines to certain special white people who are important in my life. This one here is dedicated to John Wayne, great white man. Didn't take no shit from nor Mexicans. And this one here is for George Bush the First. Loved him. Now this one here is dedicated to the most soulful soul singer to ever live. Yeah, I work about 32 jobs over the course of a week. I think it's interesting I got 32 jobs and most say they can't find one.
What is so interesting or eye-catching or funny about Uncle Ruckus, and why is he such a unique character in your eyes?
I mean, it's funny because it's wrong.
Yes, it's very wrong.
Because no other show could do something like that where it would be like acceptable in any way, shape, or form. But because of who makes it, they can do that sort of thing. And that's why it can be funny. Because if it was anything else, it just wouldn't be funny at all.
This next video, I found it on, I forget where I found it. I found it online somewhere, and it's 50 Cent challenging Floyd Mayweather to read a book during the ALS challenge.
I look at the computer say, Floyd said, fuck T.I., fuck Nelly, fuck 50. I'm like, what did he say fuck me for? Nelly fucked your first baby mama, Melissa, then took your fucking fiance. Say fuck that.
This is a special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you can read one full page of a Harry Potter book, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to. Fuck the bucket of ice, man. I got a phone call from my man Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy said if Floyd accepts the challenge, that he'll put it on the actual show, so you can read it on the show. We don't want to put pressure on you. We know you can't pronounce those words in that Harry Potter book, so we're gonna let you read Cat in the Hat.
I saw this video and I was dying laughing. It's just not the fact that 50 Cent has had so many issues with legal ramifications and stuff with money and whatnot, but it's just he's so out there, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. is a whole nother character himself that's annoying. But I just I don't remember what happened. I believe Floyd Mayweather Jr. did not read the page of Harry Potter. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check.
I don't think he did. I'm pretty sure he said he could. He just wouldn't do it.
Yeah. There's not even to mention that he couldn't even get the correct words. It was like ALSECI challenge, and then of course he eats the bucket. But he's an interesting man. The last segment I want to do on this show for the remaining, whatever it may be, 45 minutes or so, is the personal section, which is where we kind of discuss how we got to know each other and so on and so forth. But how do you? I'll share my memory as well after you, I should say. But do you remember how we both met, or was it just something that just happened?
I believe that it was in probably middle school that we probably met before that because of our parents. But I don't think we really talked until middle school.
Yeah.
When my brother started to do wrestling,
Yeah.
and I never played tennis at Curtis Corner, but I did still play tennis at that point.
Yeah.
And we would always talk about like tennis and wrestling and stuff like
Yeah.
that because we were always into like WWE.
Oh yeah. No, I think that's definitely I was no, yeah, I'd have to agree in the sense that I think oftentimes when you have when both people have parents who are involved in a similar activity or job, whatever it may be, you often see each other, but you don't really know each other. Then obviously once you get older and you're in the same school, or maybe you start doing that. And I think that's, definitely how it was middle school. I definitely remember, when your brother was on the team and he was wrestling at the heavyweight spot, we talk about wrestling a lot and stuff like that, and his opinion, and how oftentimes what I would say it would not be would be ridiculous, or it may be he'd laugh as he usually does. But no, then I one thing I remember specifically, it must have been when you were attending camp, the summer camp, and it might have been, I don't know, I think you might have been wearing one of those shirts, and my father, who at the time, he now has a red truck, but at the time he had a Ford Explorer, it was blue, and you both were walking home, and and we stopped over, and we gave you a ride home, and that was definitely but that was the first memory I have. And then obviously you're older than me, so middle school we're only together for a year or so. Then high school is when in high school is when then we started to know each other more, played tennis together on the team and tournaments. And you came over, you and your mother came over to my grandparents' house one time and went swimming in their pool. But no, then
it's a very nice pool.
Yes, it is. They had a slide up until I think last year, and then they got rid of it just because it was falling apart, and there are cracks everywhere in the on the surface level. But then it wasn't until I'd say specifically, I would think maybe 3 years ago or whenever I the number, I'm not great with math. But then whenever year, how many years ago it was when you started working at the summer camp, which is when I think it really, we started to get to know each other better, and the friendship developed more because we were working hand in hand. For you, I want to go back to the tennis. For you though, what was it like for you though, like playing for South Kingstown in tennis wise, knowing that it's as prestigious as a team as it is in the last 25 years or so?
Playing the SK tennis team was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that I did it and stuck with it, even though I never got to be on the varsity team. Well, I technically was, but I never actually played for varsity. But like I had a lot of fun. Tennis was probably like one of the best things I did in high school.
Yeah.
It was like one of the things that like kept me in shape, and I had to like stay in shape for it, or else your dad would get mad.
Oh yeah.
And even on like JV, I'm a 3-time champion.
Oh, yeah.
Which I mean, it's JV, but like we blew every other team out of the water.
What it basically is, I mean, there are other teams out there who suck, varsity teams who are worse than the JV team, but the JV team,
like if I had been to any other school besides SK, I probably would have been on varsity.
Oh yeah, and probably near the top of the lamp too, because there's a lot of teams, whether it be D3 or D2, a lot of dumpy players. But the thing is that the same, principles and guidelines, whatever it may be, and the same type of how it's ran is the same as it is in varsity. Because both, I'm not going to play favoritism or anything, but both coaches, know what it takes to, win and whatnot and be successful. And it's definitely an experience. And I think I definitely enjoyed it when I was there my freshman year. I definitely enjoyed it because it was something where, although a lot of kids were wasting time and running amok and making Jerry lose what hair she had left at that time, it was definitely a time where, it wasn't as serious as varsity, because varsity, it's with, my father being a coach, it's very serious and it's very regimented, and it's, you can, joke around and laugh and stuff, but it's way more, serious and stuff. Whereas JV, you can calm down a little bit and, take it a little bit more easy and, but still, get a great workout and still play and do a lot, because it definitely is something that you have forever. But for you, what did, for the 4 years you were part of the team in general, what did you take away from that experience and, the lessons you learned from that team? Because you definitely learn a lot being part of it, I think.
I think I learned a lot about like respect doing tennis, since I was one of the very few people who did Coach Jerry a lot.
Yes.
And that's why I ended up being like captain for 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Just because if anyone was just being rude to Jerry, I'd just put a stop to it immediately.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't want, because she was 81 at the time, or 83 by the time by the time I was done.
Yeah.
And like, she just does not deserve the credit she was getting from those kids.
Yeah, definitely. Well, she's just,
and like, she was a fantastic coach because she was even a professional player.
Oh yeah. No, she definitely, it's I wish she almost, started. I mean, then again, then she might have been the head coach if, she started earlier, but she definitely has, it's like my, my grandfather who, I'm not going to go in depth about, but, has similar amount of quality and quantity of knowledge. Just, has slowed down, and she has a lot of barriers that, she can't, overcome and hurdle over. So she does what she can, but I think that definitely prevents her from doing more than she can, but she still can do a lot. She does offer a lot of stuff. And she also, wants the best for whoever is on the team. And she definitely tries her best to teach. And being by herself and having the guys who don't make varsity, having 40 guys on the team, it's hard for herself as well, especially getting down. And I know you helped her out many times to her car and up to the courts and stuff, because it is for someone like herself, a lot of
because like for a woman that's 80 years old, she was a fantastic coach.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
For someone who could no longer actually play,
yeah,
she had I learned a lot of like stuff about technique and other from Coach Jerry.
Yeah. And the thing is, so she would, like most coaches, even at the varsity level, she would stay out for hours and hours working with you on her own, will, like asking, hey, you want to stay after? Or someone would ask, hey, you want to stay after? And she would till it get dark. And I remember my dad would drive by, he'd be amazed because she'd be out there 82, 83 years old, out there till 7:00 at night working on serve with, or forehand, or maybe with people. And she doesn't go. And she's also another amazing thing about it, she's a night owl. So she's up way into the early evenings watching tennis, and she's always calling my dad at 12:00 at night. Hey, you're watching US Open or Australian Open, and she's always on the computer typing things up, on top of being in charge of, what is it? She runs the whole JV league. For those that don't know, there's a handful of teams.
Yeah, she does. She's in charge of the JV league.
She's in charge of the JV league. Always at the end of the year banquet, she does the speeches and gives the awards and stuff, and she gets a round of applause.
Yeah, she schedules all the matches and stuff.
Yeah. And then she's also, I forget, and then she's always going to a conference every, whatever it is, few months where it is, across the country for part of USTA or USPTA. But she, continues to do it, and she'll be doing it till, she's done here on Earth. Do you have any funny stories though that you can share with the audience that you have from playing on the team or with her herself?
I think like the funniest one was probably when she hit Sam.
Oh yeah.
So practice had just started, I think, and so the part of the routine was, I think this was like my junior year. It was either my junior or senior year. We were all just sitting around waiting for Jerry, eating like a snack before practice.
Yeah.
And she had finally got there, and I don't know what he said to her, but it was really rude. And so she like turned around and walked up to him, and she slapped him. And like, she's 83, she can't slap him hard, but like, he was so upset that she would even do that.
Yeah.
He got in his car and left.
Yeah. Well, I remember, I forget what it was. I remember when my freshman year, when I was there, when we had like 85 billion kajillion guys on the team, we were all on the back court by where the backboard used to be, court number 6 in the shade. And someone was on the court. I think it might have been both Gio brothers playing. I could be wrong though. I know Brandon was definitely out there, and she had dealt with a lot of that crap throughout the season, and she had enough. So she said she took a ball, I think, and actually hit the ball at him, and he got offended. She goes, "Get out of here, leave, you're done," for the week, or where it was. And he got off the court and he didn't leave. He just sat on the bench. But I was like, "You're kidding me, Jerry. You can't do that, especially with someone like himself who's, father's a lawyer and you can get in trouble." But she never did, and she although she let a lot of stuff slide due to whether it be she couldn't really do anything about it or whatever it may be physically, but she also did speak up and tell them to stop. At that point, I think another funny memory I have of her is, it was the freshman year I was playing with Calder, and of course we had 50,000 guys on the team, so we had not a lot of spots at Broad Rock. So everyone was on the court, and I'd gone there a little late or whatever it may be, and me and Calder had to go hit somewhere, and she chose to put us in between the court, not like on one side of the court or maybe on the track outside,
like between the two posts.
Yes, between the two posts, between one post on one court and another one, and she's like, Calder and Wincheck go on to court 6 in between the posts, and I had to do double take. I'm like, excuse me, Calder and Wincheck, who? And I believe when I did Calder's speech on senior night, I mentioned that I got a big laugh because she's known for getting so many names wrong on the team, which is funny. I remember Colin McGreen when he was on the JV team. She called him in one practice. She called him Colin, Cullen, and Colin, all within one span. Nothing new. And I think my dad, and that's my dad's favorite story, but both him and Colin McGreen were definitely had to do a double take. But no, she's just someone who deserves more credit. And I remember when I had my senior night speech, I said, while I was bawling my eyes out as I did in that situation, that she is a phenomenal coach, a great person, means a lot obviously to everyone that knows her really well, and deserves more credit than she does, especially since she gets a hard time a lot from more time every new class comes along on that team, because as she gets older she can't handle it as much. But she definitely deserves a lot more than she gets. So you've played with a handful of I would think a handful of players on that team, because Jerry likes to switch around the lineup a lot, whether it be expected or unexpected. If you could rank from your favorite to least favorite partner that you've played with on the team over your 4 years, who would it be?
So it's actually funny that you bring this up, because I didn't actually switch all that often. So I really only had 3 partners: Curtis, Matt Kutcher, and Ryan Min. That was it.
That was it. That's all you needed.
And if I had to rank them, Curtis is definitely at the top. Because Curtis and I, legends. Like, we never lost a single match together. We would argue like profusely during a match, after a match, before a match, but we would never lose.
Yeah.
Matt Kutcher, we were good together. We only played a few matches together, and it was when Curtis was hurt.
Yeah.
We worked well together. It's just, Curtis is, my
Curtis
guy.
Curtis, yeah.
And then Ryan, it was his freshman year. I was a senior. He's a freshman.
Yeah.
We would argue a lot, not as much as Curtis and I would argue a lot, but we would argue, and we would run into things like his arm would hurt and he wouldn't want to do the overhead serve.
Yeah.
And Coach Jay would waddle over and, man, if you don't start serving like a real singer, I'm going to smack you. But Ryan would never pick up his feet. And the only 2 matches that I've ever lost in my high school tennis career were with Ryan Min.
The thing is, though, we have to make this clear, is though you did something that many haven't been able to do, and you did clinch the state championship for the team with Ryan Min at Broad Rock, your senior year.
I did that twice.
You did it twice I'm guessing with Curtis then the other time.
Yes, I clinched the finals in my junior year with Curtis, and then I clinched it again my senior year with Ryan Min.
Now, if I remember correctly, so the varsity had just gone back, I think, from playing Mount St. Charles or something, and we gone back, and I think Andrew Estes was on one court playing doubles with Matthew Bierman, where it was, and then Devin Steele was on another court maybe, and then you were on there with Ryan Min. Your match was the last one on there, and I think you had it was split sets, so it was going to the third one, I believe. I could be wrong. No, because they don't do that in JV. JV, they play first one to win 10 games.
10 sets. We do best of 10.
Yeah, so whatever it was, 8-8.
I think it's called a Pro 10.
Yeah, so whatever it was, 8-8 or 9-8, whatever it was you. And I think you were up maybe 40-love, or they were up 40-love, and you come back. Now it's deuce. And then you come back, and then it's match point. Then your partner comes back, Ryan Mint comes back, and he hits an overhead. I believe you probably set him up at the net. He hits an overhead. Boom.
I did, so...
Explain. Why am I explaining it?
So we were actually losing most of this match, and no idea that until later on in the match that our match was going to be the deciding match. So we're down 2-7 in games. It was really bad. And then at one point I was like, Ryan, we need to come back right now. Final.
Yeah.
And so we won 6 straight games, I think.
Wow.
And then we were finally up. It was 9-8, and it was a deuce, and we had the advantage. I hit a kick serve, and it was all the way in the back of the box. That he had to back up and lob it, but the lob went up short, and Ryan Mann hit an overhead, and it went straight back to the fence, and we won.
And for me, I wasn't on that I hadn't been teammates with you since my freshman year, which then would have been only a year or two prior to that. But for me, and it was sprinkling a little bit too, so the courts were a little wet. But for me though, it was one of the most, because I never when I was on varsity, I never had the chance to play at Sutter Park. But for me though, it was I was stressed out because I didn't know anything what was going to happen. I didn't know if you guys were going to pull through, and my heart was racing, my hands were getting sweaty, and then that happened, and I was jumping up, and we all stormed the court, and we're jumping up and down with you guys, and I remember you were screaming, and it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It was just something like that, and it was for all his faults, Ryan Mins, and inabilities to do certain stuff. He came through for that at the end, as long as you did. It was just.
I actually vividly remember stopping one from storming the court until Ryan and I shook the hands of our opponents.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, it was just it was unbelievable how that happened, and it was just such a interest. Oh my, I couldn't believe it. It was something, but it's definitely.
I still have the tennis ball.
I don't have any of the ones that I've played with. I've lost them along the way, and like I said at the beginning of this program, you work many jobs, whether it be when you work at the scout shop, or working at the gas station, convenience store, working at the summer camp, or even on the occasion when you're working with your father. Why do you work so much? Was it something that your parents were like, hey, you need to get a job, or is it just something you want to do where you're like, hey, I want to make a lot of bread?
So I don't think it's that I want to make a lot of money, because I don't, especially because I only work minimum wage jobs.
Yeah.
But working, it gives me something to do.
Yeah.
And something like camp, it's really fulfilling being able to work with kids and being able to make them happy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was the same thing at the scout shop. I was helping people through their scouting experience. At the gas station, it's I work with my friends.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of fun. And I work with I'm with my friends, and I'm just so happy to
Oh yeah, which is the end goal. Obviously, if you're working with friends, it's even better. But if you like what you do, then you you really enjoy it. Working at the gas station, obviously that requires you're obviously working by yourself sometimes when you're out pumping gas, or eventually at the car wash. But when you're inside the convenience store, you may be working with someone else. But what is that experience working there for whatever time it may be? What has that taught you since you started working there?
I've definitely learned a lot about working with the public. So even though I had worked in a store previously, the scout shop was nowhere near as busy as a gas station is.
Yeah.
There were times where I didn't see customers at all during the day at the scout shop, but in an hour, I'll see more customers at the gas station than I ever did at the scout shop.
Yeah.
So you really have to learn to deal with the public and how rude they can be. I've been yelled at plenty of times, and it just doesn't bother me anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You just it's just something you it's as much as it shouldn't be part of the job, it is, and you just got to get used to it.
Well, for some people, it's also. I mean, and I have no experience in that. So my opinion or my views aren't as I guess important as others who work there, such as yourself. But in that type of situation, you get people that are wanting you to pump their gas, or they want to pump their gas, and they're gonna, they want it fast and immediate, and they want it their way, and they see you as maybe below them, and it definitely teaches you, hey, you don't want to be doing this for the rest of your life. High school, college, that's great. You don't really have anything, you don't have any significant bills or stuff, but you definitely see people who are older who are doing this full time, who are struggling and whatnot. And you say, you know what, good thing I'm going to school, or whatever it may be, because I'm getting something out of it that will help me down the road. Another job, that we share in common that I've mentioned many times with the show is the summer camp. And you went there as a kid, and now obviously you work here later. And I remember when I last year when it was my 5th year working there, I wrote everyone a little message, how much they all meant to me, and I mentioned in yours that now I don't know what it was like in the past because I don't know who went camp and who then became counselor, but I considered you, the definition of camp because then you transitioned from going there to then working there. What was it like going to camp to the camp when you were a kid compared to how you see it working there nowadays?
So one of the differences now versus then. So back then, camp was huge.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
there's so many kids that went to camp because so now we're only at like the one site, and I mean we switch every week. But like there was just different sites. There was like age groups. So like there's like the older kids, and there's just multiple younger kids sites. There was like Wakefield, Stale, Old Mound Field, Curtis Corner. I don't think there was ever a Broad Rock camp before we had done it this past year, but there was just like a few hundred kids at least.
Oh yeah,
that went to camp, and I mean, while I would like to see camp to get back to that, I don't think it will in like the near future. At least it might in the further future. But like I think counselor wise, I think we do a pretty good job now.
Oh no, yeah, definitely.
Because like I loved my counselors when I went to camp, and I think so that part's pretty much the same. And there's always going to be people who are like better counselors. Like not every counselor I had was a great counselor.
Oh yeah.
But most were fun regardless.
No, it definitely. I mean, I never got there.
Like our former superior was like in charge for most of the time while I was at.
No, I definitely. No, I never got.
So like that part was the same.
Oh yeah, that you couldn't miss that. Unfortunately, no, I never have to go there. Now that I've been there for 6 years, I wish that I could go. Or I shouldn't say wish because I get superstitious. So I always wish for Billy more wishes. But I always look back and regret not going because I see how fun it is for them. Although it's definitely has changed, and specifically last year without field trips. I definitely regret not going, although looking back in it, I always enjoyed being home. And I think that's a thing that's really affected it nowadays, especially with, technology. I wouldn't say technology, but the advancements with everyone having a cell phone now and under the age of from 20 to below or 22 and below.
Yeah.
And you could be 8 and have a cell phone like some of the kids do. And now they spend more time at home or, not at camp. So the numbers are definitely smaller. And then especially with COVID, it definitely affected the numbers. Now, when you were a camper, did you ever, think, oh, maybe one day, I'd like to be a counselor too? Or was it just like, what the hell are these kids doing here? They're lame.
So I really wanted to be a counselor when I was younger. It just so happened that when I had gotten into high school, I forgot. And so I remember like someone had said they were applying for the job, and I had seen you actually. I think I saw you being like the Easter Bunny or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I forgot the camp was.
Yeah.
And I was like, and so I was with Rob one day at CCRI. We were at college, and I was like, Rob, I'm gonna apply to be a camp counselor, and I want you to do this with me. And he was like, and I explained to him like what camp was and like what we used to do and like how camp was like so much fun.
Yeah.
And he was like, that sounds sick. I want to be a part of it. And then I think Rob and I ended up going to a party a little bit after that, and Christina was there.
Oh boy.
And Kendall had told her that Rob and I were going to like be part of camp, or we had applied, and she was like talking bad about how it's like, oh, it's not as cool anymore. But like Rob and I still had a blast.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely what it is. I mean, I think definitely something like in her. I mean, now I'm not going to dog her in here. I mean, it is my show, but I think definitely it's what you make of it. And I think maybe for someone like yourself, who I know when she started there, she wasn't going to school. I think she just graduated, so she might not have had a whole lot going, so she might not have enjoyed it. I think though, definitely, like I said, it's definitely what you make out of it. And I remember when I first started, I had worked only a few months at the coffee shop in Wakefield, and because then I had wrestling, and then I wasn't going back. I quit, and then I wasn't in the rush to look for a job, and my mother, was very adamant on me getting out of the house and not spending the summer inside. And she saw that
Mm.
in there. You know, my dad, you know, has been working as a whatever you want to call it, you know, doing a camp at the guild for 30 years. So he knows Kathy and all them very well. And I had said, sure, why not? Screw it. Why not? Fuck it. And I signed up, got the interview, and, you know, of course I was sweating, and Kathy was like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And all this stuff. And it was sweating. Then I got the job. And I remember the first day, and it was nervous. And I was with the older kids, which you've been with ever since you started. And that was rough for me because with that, it's different because they're more vicious with the counselors, especially if you let them be. And then I switched to the younger kids, almost quit. But I have, you know, no regrets staying. It's been the greatest event of my life. And I think definitely, I mean, now, like I said, you've been working with the older kids, so I really haven't had any experience really working one-on-one with you besides last year. Besides that one time the year prior to that, when Kaylee made me go down to spend the day with them because Tyler, who it was, had to go home, and of course I, of all people, had to go down, and of course Christina wasn't doing anything, and you had to take reins, and Lauren was off the side playing GIMP with the kids. But no, I've enjoyed it, and I think both of us, I think that definitely, like I said at the beginning of the show, that it definitely has helped, you know, make our friendship stronger and better and more I don't know, unique, I guess, or something like that, because it definitely is a tough job. And I think although it can be easy, it's easier than working in a restaurant. I think definitely it teaches you a lot of, you know, life skills, and it definitely is an eventful thing. And it's definitely something I've enjoyed. And I think when you all have the same goal in mind and trying your best to make sure these kids are having a great time, it definitely is beneficial. Although the pay, it could be better, especially since we're putting in a lot of work that the parents, you know, don't see, you know, planning out the day and the week.
Although it will be getting better. I don't think, I don't know if you're raised, but I know that I am, because up until now, any was just getting like the minimum wage.
Oh yeah.
Except for the supervisor and assistant site supervisor, which is a position we don't have anymore.
Yeah.
But I'll be getting promoted, and I'll be a camp counselor 3.
Yeah. No, it's definitely and that's the thing though. I remember, you know, it's unfortunate that the pay was so little because, like I said, you know, we're putting so much work. You know, the parents just see you dropping them off, signing them in, picking them up. When we're doing all this stuff, burning energy, and someone like yourself, you know, you put a lot of effort into everything and try your best, especially when the other staff aren't doing that well. And over the years since we've both been there have been some pretty dumpy staff members. And you know, someone like yourself though, you put in a lot of work. You know, dressing up. Last year, you dressed up quite a bit for the weeks, and you put a lot of effort into it, and a lot of heavy clothing, and you wore it all day, you know, walk through the woods when we do hikes. And it's definitely something. And I think oftentimes we don't get enough credit as well, maybe in the department as well, from other people, because they expect it to go a certain way, like some of our previous employers have thought, and that's not the case. Do you have any funny stories though from the job that you can share with the audience watching and listening to this?
I think so. Like one of the funniest things that, at least I mean, it wasn't funny at the time, but I think it's now. So I was signing out, and two of like one of my more favorite children camp were getting signed out by their mother, and she was like, "Where's, you know, the supervisor?" And I was like, "Oh, she's gone for the day. You know, she's done." And so and she was like, "Oh, well, isn't there anybody else here?" And I was like, "No." Well, I was like, "There's like the other, like there was one other counselor with me. I think it was Tyler."
Yeah.
And I was like, but I was like, we're more than capable of handling the children for like the first hour of camp. So, and then she said to my face, she's like, "If you're supervisor next year, I'm not bringing my kids to camp."
Yeah.
Because I don't trust you.
Other funny moments that we've had. I mean, at least it wasn't really funny because I'm sure it was nervous at one point when a certain medical piece of equipment was left in another state with your
well, for me that was hilarious the entire time because it wasn't my fault.
Yes. And we mentioned this with Rob, and because we had stayed back the younger kids, and the person who was in charge had put it off to another counselor to grab. That kid counselor, I'm not going to say a name, thought that she didn't have to do that, so she gave it to a kid to take. Now, kids shouldn't be doing that. That's not his job. He obviously didn't grab it, which he shouldn't have, and it was left there. And the piece of equipment is extremely needed for this one kid.
Well,
And
it needed for 3 kids.
yes, 3 kids. The bag of medical equipment. But I believe at the time they were still taking the stuff home. I don't think we were keeping them. And somehow they got
No,
back.
there were 3 EpiPens in that med kit.
But I don't know if at the were we were keeping them in the bag overnight, or were we giving them back at that point?
Oh, I think we were giving them back at the end of the day.
But now I don't know how it got back to Star Command at in Wakefield. But
the camp director Kaylee had driven up to Massachusetts and got him.
Yes, and the powers that be found out, and they weren't too happy, so they came back, giving them an earful, giving the person in charge an earful. And me and Rob were just standing on top of the playground, smiling, laughing our rear ends off, and playing the juice because it wasn't our fault. We were just watching. And of course, you don't want to be doing that because if someone spots you when that Jeep pulls into the parking lot, or that Ford pulls into the parking lot and sees you, you're in trouble. And I remember the person in charge was whining in the closet, and she ended up getting off easy and getting a warning.
It was a very interesting bus ride back.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. You've been a part of a lot of also things at the job, like being left at the beach that one time when you're throwing away the trash. Do you care to explain that story?
So we were at the town beach, and we had just gotten ice cream from Vanilla, and all the kids had finished their ice cream. So I had the trash bag holding it for the kids, and I was like, hey, if you have your trash, bring in the trash bag.
Yeah.
And so there's a dumpster at the town beach. It's not in the same section of the parking lot as the bus was.
Yeah.
I had to walk. There was like these tall hedges that are probably like 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
So I walked through the hedges and probably walked it was like 200 feet away from the bus. And I walked to the bus. And I walked to the dumpster, throw away all the trash, because just as my supervisor had told me to do. I'm going to take away trash and taking out the trash. And I'm walking back to the bus. Like, I don't hear the bus because like you can hear the bus running.
Yes.
And so I'm walking back. I'm like, I don't hear the bus. And I walk around the corner, and the bus is now turning the corner out of the parking lot for the beach. And so I was like, I don't know what to do. So the first thing I did was I opened Snapchat. I took a video, and I spun around, and I was like, my coworkers at the beach. And I sent it to all the counselors, and from what I heard from the other counselors on the bus, so the second that my supervisor got the notification from me, because I sent her the she screamed because her mom was a bus driver. She said, we need to turn around. We left Wyatt at the beach.
Yeah.
They didn't get too far.
Yeah.
And although I don't think they would have noticed that I wasn't on the bus unless I had said something.
Yeah. No, I think we were around Matunic Elementary School, maybe. And then she was like, ah! And then she's like, oh my gosh, we forgot Ryan. Was like close to bawling her eyes out. And we turned around, and then you got on the bus, and we're all like, me and Rob were like, oh my gosh, we forgot him. And then I think the Star Command back.
Rob wasn't there actually. That was Rob's day off, and I had sent that snap to.
Oh.
Yeah, Rob had the day off, and I had sent the snap to Rob as well. And I was like, Rob, they left me at the beach, and he was like, "What do you mean they left me at the beach? What do you mean they left me at the beach?" And I was like, "Well, I was on the bus. I got off to throw out the trash, and I came back. The bus was gone."
And then the powers that be, they weren't too happy hearing that you were left, and everyone got a talking to about that.
Find out about that.
What?
Until the year after, I believe, because
wow.
a kid, our boss didn't know that because we never told anyone, and then it wasn't until a year later that a kid that was there on that field trip came up to me and like, while I was talking to our boss, and they're like, "Hey, remember that time you got left at the town beach?" And I was like, and she was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Yeah, last year I got left at the beach."
Yeah, that wasn't. She didn't enjoy that quite a bit. But man, this was fun today, Ryan. I want to thank you again for taking the time. It is 5:39, so it has been a little over 2 hours. I have taken 2 hours out of your afternoon/evening to come on the show this week. But I want to thank you again though for being this week's guest. I had a lot of fun, and I Hope you did as well, going down memory lane and sharing some fun stuff that we've talked about.
I look forward to coming back again.
Oh,
in
yes.
the future.
Well, no, I definitely I have a few more people left of season 1. So the first, I think near the beginning of season 2, as we get closer to the spring, is when hopefully I can have you and Rob on at the same time, because that's definitely a fun trip. But I want to just a reminder for those viewing at home, catch this episode on YouTube and every other podcast streaming service this Thursday. Although it is Monday, I usually record on Wednesdays. It will be up Thursday, February 18th, 2021. If you're viewing this on YouTube, be a good sport and hit that like button. Each week a guest comes on. Each week a guest comes on, I should say. We try our best to have meaningful, interesting / fun conversations. So it would mean a lot if you would hit the like button. Also hit that subscribe button and click that bell button so you're notified when new weekly content is published. Also click that share button and share this week's episode as well as the show itself here on YouTube to your friends and family, and so on and so forth. Finally, if you're listening to this episode, hit that heart button, follow the podcast, click the bell, share the show with friends and family, as well as leave a review, because that helps me continue the show. After all that, if you can, all of us here at ITM Studios would take the time and if you can donate, to the show, whatever amount of money you have. I know times are tough with people losing jobs, family dying, paying for expenses and whatnot, but I would really appreciate, because it helps the show continue and develop. These requests, subscribing, following, and so on and so forth, are extremely crucial and vital to the continuation of this program. With that, I'll leave you with this and the immortal words of Johnny Carson. Wish you all a farewell and heartfelt good night. See you next week for a brand new episode and guests for another edition of the IST Meme Show with NoLdAwG. Take care, everyone. I'll see you again soon.